Congratulations to the Boston Celtics. They win title number 18 with their blowout win last night over the Dallas Mavericks. They win this series in 5 games, and all of the doubters, me included, saying they're missing something all year. It was me that was obviously missing something with this Boston Celtics team, because they deserve all the credit in the world. From start to finish, they were the best team in the NBA. 64 wins in the regular season, 16-3 in the postseason. Overall, 80-21. Jaylen Brown MVP. Smalls, you were right. I was wrong. I don't want to speak for CeCe, but Smalls, congratulations.
Thank you very much. After my Kansas City Chiefs debacle and saying that they were not going to win the Super Bowl this year, I feel a little vindicated that the Boston Celtics got it done. But I called it the relief title, that I thought that the prevailing sentiment after winning this, if they were able to get it done, would be, phew, because they had been knocking on the door for so long, and they obviously had to weather a longer path to get here. But shout out to perseverance, shout out to patience, because in modern day sports, organizations often don't have that. They would look at Tatum and Brown and say they've been in over 100 playoff games together and they have not broken through. Maybe we need to deviate from this. Maybe they're not the tandem that we need. Maybe they're not the leaders that we need, even though they have moved the puzzle pieces around for them. So the fact that they finally broke through and they were able to get it done, and not only get it done, but in dominant fashion in the regular season and the postseason, good for them.
Yeah, I mean, 80 wins. Like, that's what I keep coming back to. This is an 80-win team. This is one of the best teams in Boston Celtics history. And this is a storied franchise because they got the most titles of anybody in all of basketball. So the fact that Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum have been able to put their imprint on this franchise in that way, the fact that they were able to plant their flag when they had the weight of the world on them, when the expectations were so high coming into this year, I think it's a tremendous credit to them, their sports character, and the journey that brought them here. Being able to see the growth and maturation in real time, seeing these guys actually come up the hard way, seeing them build a championship-winning team, grassroots style. Not necessarily going out and fortifying a team by adding a star on a max contract, but they actually were drafted into this franchise and developed properly amidst all the change, all the turnover from Brad Stevens to Ime Udoka and now Joe Mazzulla. Those guys having the intestinal fortitude to stay the course, to continue to believe in themselves when so many of us doubted that they would be able to get to this point. They deserve a tremendous amount of credit for being as mentally tough as they are, and the championship is the culmination of that.
Last night wasn't particularly close. 106-88. Dallas was never in this game. Dallas gave, let's be honest, a pretty poor effort outside of some of the Luka plays. Kyrie Irving was horrific in this game last night, and they were up huge at the half, 67-46. Credit to Joe Mazzulla also. Joe Mazzulla, their head coach. We're going to spend a lot of time, rightfully so, talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. But Joe Mazzulla is a guy that was thrown into the fire last year when they fired Ime Udoka for conduct off the court. And he's given the head coaching job 1 week before the season begins a year ago. Goes to the conference finals last year, loses to Miami, comes back this year, is a different guy, obviously, wins a championship, and he did something last night that makes me think this guy is going to be here for years to come. Obviously, winning a championship was amazing, but Peyton Pritchard last night played 1 total minute in 2 stints. One of them was for 4 seconds at the end of the first half. He knows his players so well and knows the strengths so well. He put Peyton Pritchard in because he's good at half-court shots. And he hit a half-court shot to end the first half, to which Pat Costello, one of our producers, said on our text thread, "That's the dagger." That was halftime in a closeout game of the NBA Finals. Joe Mazzulla is probably not going to get enough of the credit today, but he did a phenomenal job all year long. And we could sit here and put the verses between Tatum and Brown. At times, we've done the, who's better, or I should say, Tatum or Brown. Enough. It's both. They have two superstars.
Yeah, but there's only one guy that's Finals MVP. There was only one guy that was Conference Finals MVP, and that was Jaylen Brown. Being at your best when your best is required matters. And to me, Jaylen Brown clearly asserted himself. Now, the series was already lopsided when we got the breakout performance from Jason Tatum, offensively. And so I think I'll give credit to Jason Tatum because he led the franchise, I think, in points, assists, and rebounds in the finals. So I'll give him credit for that. But when we think about the consequential moments in this series where it felt like the games were in the balance, or it felt like the series is in the balance early on. It was Jaylen Brown that was making the plays. It was Jaylen Brown that was locking down Luka Doncic defensively. And I thought the voters, when it came to Finals MVP, weighted the defense properly, because Luka Doncic is a top 3 player in the NBA, and that he's rated that way because of his offense. All right, it's not as if he's a two-way player. He doesn't have that defensive dimension that a lot of other superstars have. But Luka Doncic might be one of the most skilled, if not the most skilled offensive player in the game today, and Jaylen Brown cut the faucet off. You're talking about all 4 Celtics wins holding the Dallas Mavs under 100 points. That is unheard of for this Dallas Mavericks team, with the backcourt that Stan Van Gundy said might be the best in NBA history. So, yeah, it's saying a lot that Jaylen Brown was able to step up in the way that he was. But I will push back, Ev, on the credit to Joe Mazzulla. I'm not ready to go there yet. He's a championship-winning head coach. Nobody can take that away from him. But essentially, Brad Stevens handed him the keys to a Ferrari, and he didn't wreck it. And I will give him credit for not wrecking it. But I need to see more from Joe Mazzulla in order to prove to me that he is who I think he is. Show me that you can manage your team being able to have success at the highest level. Show me that you can get these guys to come back and continue to compete at a championship level while your window is still open. Show me those things. Show me that level of commitment. Show me that you can get your guys to continue to buy in and do the little things that lead to the big results. Then I'll believe in you more as a head coach. But, I mean, essentially you have a perennial all-NBA tandem in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum that not a lot of teams around the league can boast about. So I'll say this. Joe Mazzulla didn't get in the way of his team's success, so there is something to be said for that. But I'm not going to sit here and laud Joe Mazzulla as one of the best coaches in the NBA today. I'm just not.
I want to go back to Jaylen Brown for a second. You said show me. How about Jaylen Brown with the all-NBA snub, and then he goes out and he's Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He's a champion and an NBA Finals MVP. Talk about show me. You know, a lot of people might feel a certain type of way about that, and it doesn't play out this way. I'm really thrilled for Jaylen Brown that he was able to go out there and show the world who he is.
This is a remarkable stretch here. I mean, if you think about what the Boston Celtics have done, being doubted, again, I'm speaking for myself. I doubted them. I thought something was missing. I thought they needed something else. I didn't believe in them in these big moments. I've seen them lose so many times with this group in that big moment. Now, granted, they are still so young, so many times they still were ahead of time in a lot of them. But if you think about the big picture of this all started in 2013. On draft night in 2013, they traded Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce to the Brooklyn Nets. They got multiple picks back, as people know. 2 of those picks resulted in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. In the 2016 and 2017 draft, both drafted number 3 overall. Danny Ainge was the general manager at the time. Danny Ainge also had the number 1 pick in that draft when he drafted Jason Tatum. Knew that Jason Tatum, in his mind, was the best player in the draft. Also knew that the Philadelphia 76ers wanted Markelle Fultz and the Los Angeles Lakers wanted Lonzo Ball.
What the hell would the Lakers think?
So in that spot,
what was Philadelphia thinking?
So in that spot, he said, sure, I'll trade down, no problem. You'll give me an extra pick, and I'll go down to number 3, and he gets Jason Tatum. So that's where it kind of started. Then this run has seen 3 different head coaches, and 3 really good head coaches, by the way. Regardless of what you think about Mazzulla in the future, guy just won a championship. Brad Stevens, who we all lauded forever. Ime Udoka, that if you just focus on the 48 minets between the lines, is awesome. And now Joe Mazzulla. And then think about the players